pictures, but I'm not angry, but I'm responsible for your safety. It will take 3 or 4 minutes because we are going to put the air. It'll be about 3 minutes. 3 minutes before the fuel comes. Please, that's the
Aba, the commercial hub of Abia State, made history with the commissioning of Geometric Power Plant, the first integrated power plant in Nigeria, situated at Osisioma Industrial Area of Aba. In preparation for the commissioning of the power plant, Dubai 3 was turned on at 3:39 p.m. on Sunday, February 25, 2024, leading to massive rejoicing by Geometric Power engineers and their KS Energy counterparts. Aba Power Limited Electric, the newest electricity distribution company, DISCO in Nigeria, will take electricity from the new plant and supply to 9 of the 17 local government areas of Abia State. Described as the biggest investment in the southeast zone of Nigeria, Geometric Power has spent about $800 million on its integrated power project, which include building of 27-kilometer natural gas pipeline from Awaza in Ukwa West LGA in Abia State to the Osisioma Industrial Layout in Aba. The Geometric Power Group was founded by Bat Nnaji, a professor and former minister of power. Nnaji embarked on the integrated project after James Wolfenson, a former World Bank president, and then Nigerian's finance minister Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, visited Aba on March 17, 2004, and discovered that the greatest challenge facing both large-scale and medium-scale industrialists in Aba, reputed to be the center of indigenous manufacturing in Nigeria, is epileptic power supply. Congratulations to Ndiaba, but there is a dark side to this historic event.
Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to share my story with Geometric. It was in 2010, exactly 14 years ago, that Professor Bat Nnaji came to see me in First Bank, Lagos, where I served as an executive director. He needed the support of the bank to complete the project, the funding of which had been unfortunately stopped 2 years before by the bank that originally started the project. This bank happened to be Diamond Bank PLC. After securing approval for an $85 million facility, that is dollars, $85 million facility from First Bank of Nigeria, Geometric Power could not draw down on the facility, as it had become public knowledge that I was resuming as the Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Diamond Bank shortly. As I resumed in Diamond Bank on March 11, 2011, I put together a team that saw to the restructuring of the challenge facility and resumed funding of the project to completion. By the time I left Diamond Bank towards the end of 2014, the 3 General Electric turbines and the 27-kilometer gas pipeline were in place, and that was 2014.
The world was a very different place when Geometric Power first agreed with the federal government in 2005 to generate and distribute power in eastern Nigeria's industrial hub of Aba. For instance, Olusegun Obasanjo was Nigerian president at the time, a position he will hold for another 2 years until 2007. Alex Oti, the current governor of Abia State, was an executive director, commercial banking at First Bank, and would assume his role as managing director and CEO of Diamond Bank, one of the major financiers of the Aba Power Project, until 2011, 6 years after. Kashim Shettima, Nigeria's vice president, who inaugurated the plant on Monday, was the manager of Zenith Bank's Maiduguri branch. It will, however, take nearly 2 decades for Geometric to finally get a shot at fulfilling its promise to provide 24-hour power supply to the city of Aba after it turned on the first of its 4 power generating turbines for the first time on Sunday, February 25th, 2024. The transformative Aba Integrated Power Plant, Nigeria First, may now be up and running, with residents of the city jubilating over the impact it will have on the economy. But the private greed and government ineptitude that held it back for so long may forever cast a dark cloud over the private investment in the power sector of Africa's most populous country. Geometric Power, owned by a professor of engineering and former minister of power, Bat Nnaji, had been prevented from keeping its promise of lighting up Aba after vested interests, chronic capitalists, and inept bureaucracy putting up barriers to doing business and market dealings traceable to the very top of Nigeria's political class, combined to delay the 181 megawatt power plant. The plot to stop Geometric was at the time enabled by a helpless president, a vice president captured by vested interests, and the French Bureau of Public Enterprise. Also steering a role in grounding the Aba Power Project was the National Electricity Regulatory Commission, where conflicting interests had led to deceit, and the private sector entity, Interstate Electrics, owner of Enugu Discos, whose intent was essentially to kill the Geometric. It was a tale with few heroes, but a lot of villains who conspired to keep the city of 2.5 million people perpetually in the dark. Emeka Offor, the chairman of Chrome Group and promoter of Interstate Electric Limited, who was a close friend of Namadi Sambo, Nigeria's vice president at the time, was said to have frustrated the operation of the power plant, primed to deliver uninterrupted power supply to Aba, a shoe and a government hub in Africa. The sheer misanthropy that accompanies Nigeria's version of barefaced political brigandage and patronage has left households and industries in entrepreneurial Aba, the Japan of Africa, trapped under increasing blackout. Households in the southeast experienced blackout several times a month. In 2000, the combined turnout of the shoe and garment industry of Aba, the 3rd largest commercial city in Nigeria, was $200 million. Offor, who was blocking the project, had Pius Anyim, secretary to the government of the Federation, in his pocket, while Sam Amadi, the chairman and CEO of NEC, was beholden to Anyim. Benjamin Dickey, director general of the BPE, and Mohammed Bello Adoke, Attorney General, were also marionettes of the vice president. Together, they managed to pull the wool over the eyes of former President Goodluck Jonathan, keeping him out of the loop with spurious procedural and legal issues. Their delay tactics slowed down the takeoff of a project financed by a consortium of American investors, local and international banks, as well as the International Finance Corporation, the World Bank's private sector arm. In 2001, after the successful execution of the 22 megawatts emergency power station in Abuja to serve a dedicated distribution network within the Federal Capital Territory, Nnaji, founder of Geometric, was inspired to initiate the Aba Integrated Power Project, a distribution project with an embedded generation company. In 2004, Geometric Power Limited signed a memorandum of understanding with the federal government to build a power plant in Aba, and a year later, in April 2005, Geometric signed the Aba Concession Agreement, also with the federal government, which gave it the right to distribute power to Aba. The government, NEPA, and APL executed a lease agreement on April 28, 2005 for the distribution of power to the ring-fenced residential and commercial consumers at Aba. By the terms of the agreement, NEPA assigned its right to distribute electric power on the ring-faced iceland of Owerenta, Osisioma, Obuahi, Factory Road, and Port Harcourt Road in Aba, and also leased its distribution facilities within the contract area. Despite the huge promise it held not only for Aba but for a country where stable power was elusive and officials were scouring for templates to keep the lights on across the country, it appeared as though geometric power will never light up Aba, as a politically influential Emeka stood in the way. Geometric was licensed in 2005 to deliver power supply to Aba, an area business unit, just 2 out of 18 business units in the Enugu Disco license areas. However, the Bureau of Public Enterprise sold EEDC to Emeka Interstate Electrics without exempting Aba from the sale, thereby causing friction between Interstate Electrics and Geometric. The backing of then Vice President Namadi Sambo titled the balance in favor of Emeka Interstate Electrics. According to knowledgeable source, the former Vice President had vested interest in Interstate Electrics and wanted the company to end up buying Enugu Discos. The Sambo-led National Council on Privatization bent the rules of privatization of the Power Holding Company of Nigeria, successor companies, when Interstate Electrics failed to meet the August 21 deadline for the payment of the remaining 75% of the bid value. The company was said to have lobbied the NCP and BBE to get them to grant it an extension to pay for the assets, for which industry analysts said there was no moral justification, when similarly some investors were shut out at the preliminary stage at the same circumstances, until they got to the Interstate Electric's inability to make any payments at the August 21, 2013 deadline. The NCP and BBB did not allow any exemption. Even when Dangote was a few minutes late in submitting his bid for Gerogi and Shiroro, it was disqualified. In November 2012, the Vice President had, through a memo, directed the BPE, headed by Bola Onagorua, to disregard the 2004 Memorandum of Understanding with Geometric Power and the 2005 and 2006 lease agreement that ring-fenced Aba and Arabia Business Unit in favor of Geometric. But because she insisted that the contract should be honored, she was asked to quit with immediate effect on November 27, 2013. Analysts described the developments at the time as curious in terms of timing and very disturbing from an investor's perspective. In a suit number FHC Abuja CS 106/2013 filed at the Federal High Court in Abuja, Geometric sought to restrain BPE from listing the 2 business units among government-owned companies slated for privatization as selling or privatizing the entire Enugu Disco, contravened the existing agreement between the federal government and the Aba Power Limited and Geometric. In another suit number FHC ABJ CS 106/2013, Interstate Electrics Limited sought to be joined in a case instituted by Aba Power Limited and Geometric Power Limited against the BPE. In the understanding that an out-of-court settlement would be the best option for settling the dispute, the National Council on Privatization set up a peace committee. In its report obtained by the Business Day, the NCP committee admitted that BPE indicated that Aba ring fence was encumbered, yet it included Aba ring fence in its bid, and that Aba ring fence area belongs entirely to Aba Power Limited, with its generating power responsibilities. A report by NEC, after a visit to the geometric power infrastructure in Aba, submitted that it would be a disservice to the country in general and the company GPAL at APL in particular, after investing such huge amount of money in power infrastructure, to be denied the terms of the tripartite agreement. A disregard of the agreement will cast a bad light on the federal government privatization process and send a wrong signal to other prospective investors in the power sector. In February 2014, a team before the Federal Ministry of Power, led by the Permanent Secretary, after visiting Aba, submitted that the sanctity of the lease agreement of 2004 and a supplementary agreement of 2006 between the federal government and geometric power be respected and maintained. Several promised by former President Goodluck Jonathan to resolve the matter never materialized. It was not until 2020, during the Muhammadu Buhari administration, that the impasse was resolved. Described as the biggest investment in the Southeast, Geometric Power has spent some $800 million on this integrated power project, which includes building a 27-kilometer natural gas pipeline from Owaza, Inukwa West LGA in Abia State, to the Osisioma Industrial Layout in Aba. Nnaji disclosed as far back as 2015 that his firm paid $3.5 million monthly as interest on the $500 million borrowed from Diamond Bank and other Nigeria financial institutions. Geometric Power Aba project may be a case of better late than never, but these dark sides surely leave more to be desired. It is interesting to see how greed, selfishness is responsible for delaying this big project that will benefit the entire Abia State. Someone like Emeka Offor, a supposed elder statesman who should be clamoring for the development of Southeast, was responsible for the delay of this project. What a shame. Congratulations to Ndabia. Congratulations to Alex Oti. Congratulations to Bat Nnaji for ensuring the completion of this project. We hope this will be replicated to other states in Nigeria. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for taking your time to listen to this history. Ensure you like, subscribe, drop your comment reaction to the comment box, and don't forget to share the video. Bye.
Women of God, and I would like to use Mrs. Agatha Nnaji, the wife of the founder of Geometric, who has been working very hard, side by side with him, to recognize all the women that are here, be you a senator, wife of the governor, wife of the speaker, a woman of God, a mayoress, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen of the press. I've titled my short speech, The Power to Dream. It is with a great sense of fulfillment that I welcome everyone who has come from far and near to be part of this epoch-making event, the commissioning of Geometric Integrated Power Project, a 141 megawatts expandable to 188 megawatt power generation and distribution facility, built to supply uninterrupted electricity to businesses and households across 9 local governments in Abia State within the Aba ring-fenced island. I'm very honored to welcome His Excellency the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, members of the Federal Executive Council and other very senior government officials to Abia State, God's own state, and particularly to Aba, the Enimba city. The Vice President's presence here points to the great significance of today's event. It also speaks to the commitment of the federal government to support private sector investors in search of a robust model for electricity value chain in the country. Permit me to also welcome other very important dignitaries from the public and private sectors who have come to witness the dawn of a new era in the business of electricity generation, transmission, and distribution in Nigeria. It will be fair to appreciate at this point Professor Bat Nnaji, the board, management, and staff of Geometric Power Limited, and all the partners whose vision, diligence, and resilience saw to the actualization of the project we have gathered here to commission. Commendations are also due to the elite group of public sector officials and multinational partners who gave so much to see that Aba Geometric Power Plant and its area of support facilities and structures are completed, despite several frustrating twists and turns. The commitment of the federal government to the actualization of what started off as a pipe dream 20 years ago, the faith of the financial partners, the goodwill of the Aba business community, and very importantly, the patience of the investors tell a very exciting story of what can be achieved as Nigerians when we mobilize ourselves and resources to take on any task. As a leader in the private sector many years ago, and now as the governor of this state, I consider the Geometric Integrated Power Project to be very special and dear to my heart because of the immense potential it holds for the economic and social rejuvenation of Aba as a preferred destination for enterprise growth, family, life, and leisure. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to share my story with Geometric. It was in 2010, exactly 14 years ago, that Professor Bat Nnaji came to see me in First Bank, Lagos, where I served as an executive director. He needed the support of the bank to complete the project, the funding of which had been unfortunately stopped 2 years before by the bank that originally started the project. This bank happened to be Diamond Bank PLC. After securing approval for an $85 million facility, that is dollars, $85 million facility from First Bank of Nigeria, Geometric Power could not draw down on the facility, as it had become public knowledge that I was resuming as the Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Diamond Bank shortly. As I resumed in Diamond Bank on March 11, 2011, I put together a team that saw to the restructuring of the challenge facility and resumed funding of the project to completion. By the time I left Diamond Bank towards the end of 2014, the 3 General Electric turbines and the 27-kilometer gas pipeline were in place, and that was 2014. A combination of factors, including ownership tussle of the Aba ring fence, sale of the oil block,